Send me your location, let's focus on communicating. I just need the time and place to come through, come through. Woo! Who am I? Welcome back to Cosmoholics Anonymous. I am your favorite girl, Bo Vintage, and today's video is a story time, child. Yes! I haven't done a story time in 10 years because y'all know when I entered this year, I told you guys I was not going to be dropping as many story times, but I feel like I should bless you guys with a couple story times while I am in Toronto, and so that is what I am going to do. This is the story on the time I was roofied. I actually have two roofie stories, and I'm laughing. It's not funny. So the first story I'm going to tell you took place while I was homeless, and by homeless I mean homeless. I was living in a shelter and I made friends in the shelter. Not exactly the place you want to make friends, but yeah, I'm going to definitely share my shelter experiences with you guys. They were wild, they were interesting, they were life-changing, but this is, I guess, the first story time from the shelter. So basically what happened was I had just been going through life and I ended up homeless, and I went to live in a shelter because my back was against the wall. I had no other options. I had, what the fuck? Yeah, like I was saying, life happened. I was homeless and my back was against the wall, so my last option was a shelter. I was working at the time, but I had nowhere to be, nowhere to go, and I wasn't able to get to work from my self-proclaimed safe haven, so I ended up living in a shelter. I made friends in the shelter, like I said, and there's so many different kinds of people in a shelter. Like, honestly, that was my first time seeing a real life trans person. I've never ever met trans people until I moved into a shelter, and it was crazy. I'm not gonna say that I was uncomfortable, but it was definitely an experience. It's one thing to share a house or a living space with a complete stranger that is your roommate, but when you're sharing this space with fucking 40 other women and trans people, it's like you just feel so out of place. And so I felt very out of place, and I basically looked for somebody that was around my age that I could maybe hang out with or be cool with, and so that's what happened. I ended up hanging out with this girl, and she was older than me, but not too much older than me. I don't even know how old she is, to be honest, but she looked young, child. You know, black don't crack. Anyway, we ended up hanging out in the shelter, and then like we exchanged numbers and stuff, and so she was just my go-to person to say, like, if I was there by myself, I would message her and be like, where are you? Because only like 4 of us were in there working at the time, or 3 of us were working at the time, and she was one of the people that was working. And so that's actually how we met. Every morning when I would wake up to go do my makeup for work, she would also be doing her makeup for her work, and so that's how we kind of connected. It was awkward at first, like we didn't really talk at first, and then slowly we eased into having conversations, and we just kind of hit it off. Okay, so time was going by and I would see her every day. There was a couple of us that would hang out, and so one day she's like how she wants to go out for a drink, and I was down. The thing was, though, that the shelter we were staying in was something called an abstinent shelter. So for people that have drug, alcohol abuse, any other kind of substance abuse or any other kind of addiction, you were brought to this shelter in particular, and it was an all-woman shelter. And because of that, you weren't allowed to have drinks, whether outside or inside the house. You also had a curfew and a whole bunch of other stuff that goes into shelter living, and you know, it was very hard for me because I don't like rules, but because we had jobs, we could kind of get around it. So there's another girl that I'm still in communication with, and she actually used to work really late, and so she used to come home past 1, but the shelter time was, I think, 11 o'clock was the latest you can come home unless you had a valid reason, and by valid I mean you had a job, okay? Because everybody else in there was not working, so they had no reason to be out mad late. And so I decided that I was just gonna tell the staff that I had work until really late. I was on the night shift, and so I won't be home until a certain time. So I call, I let them know, and everything's good in the hood. So 3 of us go to drink, okay? We go to the beer store, we get motherfucking Strongbow, which is just like an apple cider beer. It's not strong or anything like that, and I think I only consumed 2. We go and we're sitting in like the grass, and we're just basically having a fucking beer picnic. Like, we're literally just sitting there drinking. But then we ended up walking to this other shelter, and this shelter was a youth shelter, and it's actually the shelter that I was supposed to be at, but luckily I didn't have to stay there. However, I did spend a night there, and that was a nightmare, and I will tell you guys that story another day. But it happened the day after this happened, okay? Roofied done ruined my life, okay? We go to this park bench, and the park bench is behind the youth shelter. Now we're with this other girl, and she's kind of a hothead, really cute Somalian girl, but she was definitely a hothead. And she actually recently came to stay at the shelter I was staying at, but this shelter that we were sitting behind was the shelter that she was coming from. And we were all just sitting there drinking. I really needed to pee, and she needed to use the washroom as well, and she knew how to get into that shelter without being a member. So there was like a back door that she let us go into. And so she's seeing all these people that she knows from being in the shelter, and she's introducing me to these people. I ain't trying to make friends with these people. I'm just saying, hey, my highs, hello, how are you? And we're gonna go and use the washroom and come back out. And this is probably when my drink was slipped the drugs, because this is the only time my drink was left unattended, when I went into the shelter to go fucking piss. So I go inside the shelter to pee, and I am like in awe of the bathroom compared to the bathroom at the shelter that I was staying at. I was like, this is so nice, like it's so big, there's a stand-up shower, this, that, and the third, and I'm like, hear me about so nice, child. I was talking about in comparison to where I was staying. Where I was staying was like Orange is the New Motherfucking Black, okay? Where this shelter was, I only had seen this bathroom, and I heard they had a lounge and they had Wi-Fi and blah, 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 blah. And so they were like really like selling this shelter to me, basically. Anyway, I go inside and I'm impressed. They have a vending machine in there. Well, they have 3 vending machines. They have a whole cafeteria, child. The shit was lit in comparison to my shelter, but that's because it was a youth shelter. I go in, I use the bathroom, me and the girl come out. We go back to the picnic bench, and I continue to drink my drink. That was probably my first drink. The second drink was given to me after, and I don't feel any type of way or whatever. I'm completely normal. This shelter was actually kind of far from the shelter that we were actually staying at, so we did take the train there. We took the train there, and then we decided we would just taxi back, if anything, if we were too drunk. Now, you cannot go into the shelter, you cannot go home inebriated, because you will get discharged. They will kick you out. The pretty Somalian girl ended up going back into the motherfucking shelter. She went in to get a bag of chips, I think, but she ended up getting into a fight with another Somalian girl in there, and child, she came out with her shirt ripped open, and we're like, what the fuck happened to you? Like, what went down in there? Like, why are you coming outside with your shirt open, your bra exposed? What the fuck? And so she's bawling her eyes out. She's pissed. She's talking about how she got in a fight with this girl, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So at the same time that this went down, I was talking to the other girl that roofied me, and I was telling her that I want to switch to this shelter because of whatever, but I was planning on like sleeping on it, you know what I mean? I wasn't gonna do it right away. But she made a phone call, child, and asked them if they had a bed, and then they said yes, and then she gave them my name and told them that I would be coming there tomorrow. They said, okay, just come for like noon. And so she made those plans for me. I did not make the plans for myself to go to this damn shelter, but it was too late. Once you're in one shelter, you have to discharge from the other shelter. The reason that she did that was probably because she was drunk and I was drunk, but either way, I had no control at this point. I didn't feel weird yet, like, you know what I mean? Anyway, the night's going on and I'm feeling like I'm wasted. But I only had 2 motherfucking beers, or two motherfucking ciders. Not even fucking beer, like cider. I only had 2 ciders and I drink, y'all, like a fish. There was no reason for me to feel super wasted, to the point where I couldn't remember the next day how the fuck we got home. I remembered being in a taxi. I remember throwing up. I remember the taxi man being pissed because we made him pull over so that I could throw up, or I threw up out the window of the cab. Ugh. And that was a whole nother drama. It was me and the girl that bought the beer that were in that cab together because we were going back to the same shelter together. So we get home and we're at the shelter door and I'm trying to act motherfucking sober. The last thing I remembered, other than throwing up in the taxi, was handing my pepper spray into the staff and marching up the stairs and going to my bunk bed, okay? I wake up the next day and one of the staff comes in the room and asks me, like, when I'm leaving. And I'm just like, leaving? Like, what are you guys talking about? I'm confused. Like, I'm lost in the sauce, you guys. And they're like, yeah, you told us last night that you are discharging. And I'm just like, I did? Like, I don't recall telling them anything. I was like, how do you guys know that I was even put into the other shelter? Like, I'm confused. So they tell me that I sat down and I was talking to them for like a whole half an hour. And I'm just like, there's no way I was that drunk off of 2 motherfucking beers that I sat there and told the motherfucking staff a half an hour story and that I'm discharging, and I don't even know what else I told them. Like, I'm just like, did they know I was drunk? Did they know something was off with me? Because they pretty much knew me by then. Like, I'm pretty much the same all the time. And so if I sat in there for half an hour when I was giving them my pepper spray and told them a whole thing and told them that I'm discharging and going to a different shelter, and I don't remember that, somebody must have slipped something in my damn drink because I am lost in the sauce right now. And so I was like, oh, okay. So then I find the girl that I was drinking with, and at this point I don't even think that I was roofied. I didn't realize that something was in my drink until like way later on in life. Like, I didn't realize it. And so I go find the girl that I came with, or that I was out with the night before, and I'm just like to her, how the hell did they know that I was discharging already? Like, that's so weird. And she's like, you don't remember talking to them? And I was like, no, and I was not that drunk. Like, I shouldn't have been that drunk. And she's just like, yeah, like, when you came and you gave them your pepper spray, we were in there for like half an hour just talking, and you told them that you're discharging in the morning. And I was just like, okay. And I had no recollection of this. I did not remember speaking to them at all. I used to carry pepper spray with me, but I had to check my pepper spray in whenever I came in the shelter, and whenever I was leaving I could get it, okay? So I wasn't allowed to have it in the shelter. And so I remembered coming home. I remembered giving my pepper spray to the staff, but I didn't remember having any type of conversation with them about discharging. That was basically what happened. Like, I literally did not remember anything. From that night, I only remembered going to the bathroom at that other shelter, coming out, and her calling to say that I'm gonna be in the shelter. And I remembered vomiting on the way back from that shelter, but I didn't remember actually walking up to the front door. I didn't remember sitting down and talking to the fucking staff at the shelter and telling them that I'm discharging. I only remembered giving them my pepper spray, and I also remembered when I was trying to get onto my bunk bed, and I was on the top bunk, when I was trying to get onto my bunk bed, I couldn't, I felt like I was falling off the ladder, and so I was holding on to the ladder for dear life because I'm just like, whoa, like, how drunk am I right now? And so there was definitely something in my drink. I don't know if it was a roofie or what, but I'm just gonna call it a roofie because it was something that should not have been in there. And so thankfully nothing crazy happened to me, at least I hope not, but I don't feel like anything happened to me other than that. But it really taught me that you can't just be out here trusting people that you meet in the damn shelter. Like, you can't be out here making real friends with people and like going out to, it's one thing to like talk to them and be cool with them in the shelter, but you can't like go out and have a drink with them, because at the end of the day, you don't know them. Like, even though they may seem like regular ass people like me and you don't know these people. And somebody put something in my drink to the point where I can't even remember the events of the night other than certain things. What happened before, and I can't really remember what happened after other than the taxi. So, and the thing is, I don't really remember giving the pepper spray. I just know that if it was routine, then I probably gave it to them because they had the pepper spray. But I don't know what happened, and I still to this day can't remember anything but what I just told you. So that was my first drink sabotage. So the second story is not roofies, it is Xanax. Shooter and I were together for this event. And we were both Xaned, I guess. I can't say roofied, we were both Xaned. We did not take the Xanax. I don't take drugs. It was motherfucking put in the liquor or something. But all I know is roofies and Xanax cannot mix. Do not mix. And not roofies and Xanax, child. Alcohol and Xanax, you cannot mix those two. I don't know which jackass at the damn table done put it in the shots or put it in the bottle of alcohol. I don't know what happened, but it's hard for me to tell this story because it's hard to tell a story you were not literally present for. Like, I wasn't present for the story because it was like we went to a bar, we motherfucking had drinks with everybody was drinking and blah blah blah. I don't know who put anything in what, and then when we woke up the next day, shit was just a fucking mess. Like, I guess I'll start with my fucking watch was broken, and so I was trying to figure out how the fuck did my watch break. I don't remember breaking it. I don't remember being drunk. Like, when you get drugged, you don't remember the things that happened to you, and so you wake up with the results, but it's like, how did this happen? And so my fucking watch was busted. The glass on my watch was busted. Shooter's phone, he had an Android at the time. The back of it was completely gone. The battery and the case that, or the part that covers the battery, gone. Oh no, honey. Oh no, honey. No. We woke up in our friend's hotel room. It was not our hotel room. We had hotel rooms beside each other, but we woke up in our friend's hotel room. Shooter's debit card was also missing. And so we're like, yo, what the fuck happened last night? So we're looking at each other like, this is a bit much. Like, we did not feel like we partied like rock stars. We couldn't remember anything except for the bar. And so we go and we ask our friend, like, what did we do last night? And this nigga, and we had stamps on our hands from 2 separate clubs, and so this nigga tells us that we bar hopped. We went to 2 different clubs. We had the stamps on our hands from them, and we were just living la vida loca. And so I'm just like, how do you go to 2 clubs and motherfucking 3 bars and not remember it? It doesn't make any sense. So we were just blacked out for the whole entire night, and we didn't know anything that was going on. I don't know if the guy that we were with is the one that motherfucking slipped us the drugs, but we had to go pick up Shooter's debit card from some random brown guy that was friends with that guy. And I'm just like, why does he have your debit card? Like, I'm confused right now. Like, honestly, it was just a fucking mess. We don't remember anything from the night other than the bar with all the shot glasses. That's all we remember. And I'll never know what happened that night. If I was not with Shooter, only God knows what the hell could happen to either of us, both of us. But clearly we had a wild fucking night. Like, I had to replace the glass on my watch, and then I ended up giving the watch away to Shooter's mother. But I had to replace the glass on my watch, and I don't know what happened with Shooter's phone because he has an iPhone now. So I don't know if he just like said fuck the phone because he got that phone for free anyway. I don't know if he just said fuck the phone and just got an iPhone and called it a day, but either way, our lives were a mess, and I can't explain it. I don't know what happened. So the reason I know it was Xanax and not roofies was because I know that the people that we were with were taking Xanax, and I think with roofies, you, well, hell, maybe the first story was Xanax too. I know with roofies, well, at least from what they show in the damn movies, like, you are like weak and stuff, and you probably fall asleep on it. Like, if you get roofied, I don't know that you can still go out and party, and apparently we were out partying, so I know it wasn't roofies. Unless I'm wrong and mistaken, maybe it was roofies. I don't fucking know. All I know is that we were just not present for whatever was happening that night, and thankfully we're okay, and thankfully we're older now. We don't really engage in too much partying, and yeah, my youth was wild, and I don't like that people can do that. I don't like that people can slip something in your drink and you have no control over your night, your life, the outcome of your life, and or the outcome of your night, and that's just so wrong. And I pray that doesn't happen to anybody, because only God knows, child. I am definitely protected and highly favored, child. I don't even question that, because anything could happen to you when you're not in the right state of mind. And that's actually why I prefer to stay home and have wine with with myself or my bae and just relax, because people are fucking crazy. Like, there's literally niggas out here putting motherfucking all kinds of shit in people's drinks and fucking their whole life up. Like, there's some people that get drugged and don't get to wake up the next day, and so I'm 100% grateful and thankful for that. Anyway, you guys, share your stories down in the comment section below if you have been drugged at any point against your will, or if you I guess that's really it. If you've been drugged against your will. Yeah. And I don't mean no damn Tylenol either. But yeah. So let me know in the comment section. I love you all, and I will definitely see you in the next one.